You are lying in a tent, alone, in the middle of a forest. Outside, something is moving through the trees. You can hear it. Slow footsteps. Branches snapping. Something heavy, something deliberate, something that is very clearly alive and very clearly close, and then silence. You hold your breath. You don't move. Your heart is doing things hearts are not supposed to do at 2 a.m., and then nothing happens. It walks away. You survive. You wake up in the morning and make coffee and pretend you weren't terrified. But here is the question nobody actually asks the morning after. Why did it walk away? You were unconscious. You were warm. You were breathing slowly and making noise and completely unable to defend yourself. You were, by every biological definition that has ever existed, the perfect meal. So why are you still alive? The answer is stranger and more fascinating than you think. Let's start with what is actually happening outside your tent at night. Most large predators, wolves, mountain lions, leopards, grizzly bears, are not sleeping when you are. They are at peak activity between dusk and dawn. That is when they hunt. That is when they move. That is when they are hungry and looking for something to kill. And they know you are there. A grizzly bear can detect your scent from over a mile away. A wolf can hear your heartbeat. A mountain lion could be sitting 15 feet from your tent right now, completely invisible, completely silent, watching you breathe. They are not missing you. They are choosing to leave you alone. The question is why. Here is something most people do not understand about large predators. They are not built to be brave. They are built to survive. And in the wild, those are two completely different things. A wolf that takes unnecessary risks does not live long enough to have offspring. A lion that charges into something it does not understand does not eat tomorrow. Every large predator alive today is the direct descendant of animals that were cautious, that were careful, that chose safety over opportunity every single time the situation was unclear. And you, sleeping in your tent, wrapped in synthetic fabric, smelling of processed food and chemical deodorant and campfire smoke, are deeply, fundamentally unclear to them. You do not move like prey. You do not smell like prey. You do not sound like prey. A deer, when it senses a predator, freezes. A rabbit bolts. A gazelle zigzags. Every prey animal on this planet has a predictable, readable, deeply familiar response to danger. And predators have spent millions of years learning to read exactly those responses. You have none of them. You lie completely still for hours. You breathe in a slow, steady rhythm. You make no attempt to flee. You radiate heat, but show no fear. You carry smells that have never existed in nature. Plastics, synthetic materials, chemical, compounds that no animal in the history of this planet has ever encountered before you showed up with your camping gear. To a predator, encountering a human for the first time, nothing about you computes. And animals are deeply, instinctively terrified of things that do not compute. There is a concept in animal behavior research called neophobia, fear of the unfamiliar. Almost every large predator has it, and they have it for an excellent reason. In the wild, the things you do not recognize are the things most likely to kill you. A new smell in the darkness. A new shape that does not match anything stored in your memory. A sound that does not belong. The smart move, the move that keeps you alive, is to avoid it entirely. Humans trigger neophobia at a level that researchers describe as extraordinary. We carry fire. We carry metal. We carry synthetic materials that evolution has had zero time to prepare any animal for. Our sweat is chemically alien compared to every other mammal on the planet, full of compounds from the processed food we eat, the products we put on our skin, the industrial environments we live in. A sleeping human in a tent does not register as food to a wolf or a bear. It registers as a threat they have not figured out yet. And that is a very different thing. But here is the part of this story that most people have never heard. Humans have been killing large predators for a very, very long time. Hundreds of thousands of years. We hunted wolves. We hunted lions. We hunted cave bears, and dire wolves, and American cheetahs, and giant hyenas. We drove multiple apex predators completely to extinction, animals that had ruled their ecosystems for millions of years, gone, largely because of us. The predators that are still here did not survive by accident. They survived because their ancestors learned something. Generation after generation, the animals that approached humans too closely disappeared. The ones that kept their distance lived. The ones that lived had offspring. And those offspring inherited not just the physical traits of their parents, but the behavioral ones too. The fear of humans is not random. It is earned. It is ancient. It has been written into the genetics and behavior of every large predator still walking this earth. A sleeping deer is still a deer. A sleeping human, even an unconscious, unmoving, completely vulnerable human, could have a weapon, could be connected to a group, could be something that, if disturbed, brings consequences that the predator cannot predict or control. And predators, above all things, hate consequences they cannot predict. Now here comes the twist. Because attacks do happen, people do get mauled, campers do get hurt, the danger is not zero. But when researchers look closely at every single documented predator attack on humans, every one, they find almost the same three things every time. Food conditioning. A bear that has learned to associate a campsite with food stops calculating humans as a threat and starts calculating them as a source. It is not predatory behavior. It is opportunistic behavior. The equation changed. The fear got replaced by something stronger. Hunger connected to a reward. A fed bear is not a brave bear. It is a bear whose threat response has been short-circuited by learned association. Desperation. The famous man-eating lions of Tsavo, the ones that stopped construction of an entire railway in Kenya in 1898 by killing dozens of workers, were eventually caught and examined. Both lions had severe dental damage. They could not hunt their normal prey. They were starving. They did not choose humans because humans were easy. They chose humans because they were dying and had no other option. Surprise! A human who corners an animal, stumbles on a mother with cubs, or reaches into a dark space where something is hiding, does not get attacked as prey. They get attacked as a threat. The animal is not hunting. It is defending. That is a completely different calculation. Notice what is missing from that list. A healthy, well-fed predator that calmly decided to eat a sleeping human. That almost never happens. And when researchers dig into the rare cases where something like it does occur, there is always a breakdown. The animal is sick, injured, starving, or the environment has been so disrupted that normal behavior no longer applies. There is one final piece to this. Something that researchers studying wolf behavior discovered that genuinely surprised them. When wolves encounter a group of sleeping humans in the wild, they frequently circle. They observe from a distance for extended periods. They seem to be trying to read the social structure of what they are looking at. Who is dominant? Who is vulnerable? What the hierarchy is. And a sleeping human sends signals that wolves have never encountered before in any prey species. No submission. No dominance. No body language. No response to the wolf's presence at all. Just a calm, still, breathing creature that does not seem to register that it is being watched. That confusion, that unreadable stillness, is a form of protection that no human deliberately chose and no piece of camping equipment can replicate. Here is what the data actually shows. The National Park Service records every significant wildlife encounter across all U.S. national parks. Tens of millions of people camp in grizzly territory, mountain lion range, and wolf country every single year. The number of fatal predator attacks on sleeping campers across the entire recorded history of RIF, the National Park System, is effectively zero. You are statistically more likely to be struck by lightning inside the park than to be killed by a predator while you sleep. More likely to be injured on the drive to the trailhead. The fear and the reality are separated by a distance that is almost impossible to believe. Until you understand everything that is working in your favor the moment you close your eyes. So the next time you are lying awake in a tent, listening to something move through the trees outside, deciding whether to be afraid, here is what is actually happening. Whatever is out there already knows you are there. It smelled you hours ago. It heard you arrive. It has been aware of your breathing the entire time, and it is choosing to stay away. Not because it cannot reach you, not because it does not know you are there, but because somewhere in the deep, ancient wiring of every large predator still alive on this planet, there is a lesson learned through thousands of generations of painful experience, written not in language, but in behavior and instinct and survival. Humans are not prey. Humans are something else entirely. Sleep well,